All right, 11:38 p.m. This is due shortly. So, hi, this is Team Three Musketeers. We made Space Game. It is the most awesome game ever, as I'm sure everyone will agree. This is Dave Becker. Say hello, guys.
Hello, this is Sam Hauk.
Hi, this is Stefan Berg.
So, we, per Stefan's suggestion, decided to do our program in Cocos 2D, which is a two-dimensional framework for writing games in. It's been adapted to various languages. I guess it started in Python. We have been working in Python, and so Sam, tell us about how you started this.
Well, I started the game by first creating a director which initializes the window for the game.
Yeah.
And that takes parameters of width and height, obviously, to set the size of the game they're going to be playing in. And the way Cocos works is everything is built in layers. So layers are a place to store different objects of the game, such as sprites or the background. So I started off by making a simple layer that stored the sprite for our main character, which in this case is a ship in outer space.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing I did was made another layer for the background.
Mm-hmm.
And to initialize those layers, you pass them into the director, or you pass them into a scene, which a scene is used to store different layers, and then the director runs the scenes.
Exactly.
And it's pretty cool how it works. So when you're creating a scene, you're passing in the parameters of different layers, and as the word layer implies, they're on top of each other. So the first parameter you pass in is going to be the first layer, and so on and so forth. So it's a pretty cool engine that allows you to very easily put a character on top of a background using the layers that are built into Cocos.
Exactly. So that was the framework that we started off with here. The first file we were working with it was main, and then it got updated to main 2, so that's what we have here. I shared my screen with you guys. Can you see what I'm talking about here?
Yeah.
Okay. So then Sam did all this stuff he was just talking about, and I was following along with, where the main function in the script is where the layers are declared, and the got your keyboard handlers here, and then you've got layers added to the scene, and then the director runs the main scene. And then Sam also created hero ship movement. Tell me about that, Sam.
So the hero ship movement class is responsible for, as it implies in the name, the movement of the ship.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool how it works. So using the keyboard import from Pyglet, which, from my understanding, Pyglet is responsible for the window, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
And then it has the keyboard functionality built in, so movement of the ship is done from the right and left keys, and up and down, obviously, and those are saved as two objects, velocity x and velocity y, and then the self.target velocity line on line 84 is what actually does the movement of the ship.
Yep. All right, and then you got a hero ship class for a sprite, right?
Yeah.
Position.
So that's just a class. Takes the parameter of a Coco sprite and initializes the ship sprite that we use in the game.
Mm-hmm. And then we do an asteroid class. And
Similar idea.
And game layer is where the real action happens.
Right.
So, yeah, starting with that framework, we built it up higher and higher, and it got more and more complicated. And one of the real problems that we came into with the whole project was that Cocos 2D is supposed to do a lot for you, and it does. But the one thing, like in most video games, is obviously you want to check for collisions of objects. And so Cocos has this lovely thing called Collision Manager, which sounds like a marvelous idea. But when Sam and I were trying to use it, it was throwing error messages basically indicating that within the Cocos framework, it was trying to pass a tuple, and another component of the framework was expecting an int, and so we got error messages pertaining to that. And since we didn't know how to dig into the
Yo, move your Skype off the screen.
okay, since we didn't know how to dig into the framework to resolve that, we just decided that we were going to have to build our own functions to check for proximity. So we've been doing that. I've been tinkering around with all kinds of things in this test2 file, which I basically just copied what Sam was doing and then tried to come up with various methods for testing. First of all, for testing the collision manager, we were doing this. Like I was doing the grid collision manager, and then Sam was trying to use the brute force collision manager. But whatever we did, we got error messages, and so finally I just said screw it and created a proximity check that doesn't utilize that function of the framework. So test 3 is our latest version of this. If I go down to my functions here, the update function, which runs the loop for the frame rate and everything, my check proximity function is the one that we're actually using to check collisions. And so it just, when we create an asteroid, we add it to the list, we iterate through the list, we check whether or not, the absolute distance, absolute value of the distance between the asteroid position and what we call the hero position. And if they connect, then we set off this little announcement. That's as far as we got on the game logic. And then, Stefan, you want to tell us about your remove asteroid function here?
Yeah, sure. So what it does is it checks the list of known asteroid sprites, and whenever any of the y-axes that are on any of those asteroid sprites fall below 0, it then saves those sprites in another list called the remove asteroid list. And what that list does is it just removes it from the layer, so you're not loading up too many sprites on one layer. And then as they fall below the screen, they're just removed from the game.
Yeah, so that was an excellent idea to avoid, like you were saying, we don't want to just keep creating asteroids until we fill up the memory of the computer. So, and we noticed that if you try to modify the list while you're iterating through the list, that gives you an error. So we created 2 lists, and then I set this value up here to 10. So you can see them come off the board. I'm gonna run this, okay, guys?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
All right. So
sorry about that. Phone rang.
that's all right. Test 3.